الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. الحمد لله الذي قال في كتابه: يا أيها النبي إذا طلقتم النساء فطلقوهن لعدتهن وأحصوا العدة. والصلاة والسلام على الذي بين لنا جميع أحكام الدين، نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا. أما بعد, dear brothers and sisters, I'm really so pleased that this seminar is taking place at this moment of time, and especially in this masjid and in this area, East London, because it is full of Muslims. And it is this topic, marriage and divorce, of a great significance for the Muslim community here in London, in Britain in general, and to every Muslim, of course. And that significance can be illustrated by some statistics about the divorce rate taking place in the Muslim community. Unfortunately, I could not find exact statistics about the divorce rate, but if you work in my place in Al-Muntada, where we receive the questions, as well as if you be a member in what's so-called Sharia Council UK, you will see that there is a very huge amount of divorces taking place, unfortunately, between Muslims within Muslim family, and that until it reaches a stage that I received one time when I was talking about that, and I was talking about the divorce rate, the high divorce rate between Muslims. A sister forwarded a question to me, and that was in one of the lectures in one of the universities, and she is a student at university, and in her question she said, I have a proposal from one of the brothers, but I don't want to get married, or I am afraid of getting married because of what I hear of divorces taking place. And it is really very surprising that at least every day, at least I receive 2 calls about divorce. Not only that, but you might think that this divorce is taking place between brothers and sisters who are not practicing the deen. But for example, today, just before I came, a practicing brother, he divorced his wife, and they have a long fighting. Yesterday, another practicing brother, he told me about divorce that took place between him and his wife every day. And these are, as I said, practicing brothers and sisters. We have to be really very worried about what's going on. And if it is a matter of divorce and that's it, then the issue is not so difficult. Is difficult, but it's not so difficult. But the divorce is taking place here in this country, where the society is not a Muslim society, and normally we have children, and the children will be lost within this society. And we hear very sad stories about children who were lost because their parents are separated. And I remember just maybe a month ago, we had a seminar for sisters, and they asked for private Q&A. Then, wallahi, brothers, the first 3 cases came to me were cases talking about sexual abuse. And what kind of sexual abuse? It is, they were abused, these sisters were abused sexually from who? From their maharim. One sister told me that the first case, a sister told me that her friend committed suicide yesterday. I told her she killed herself. She said yes. What was the reason? Her friend was 19 years old, and the reason behind that suiciding is that she discovered that she were a prostitute for who? For her brother. Her brother, when she was 5 years of age, her father divorced her mother, and since then she went to live with her elder brother, and then he was taking her as a prostitute, and he was raping her until she became 17 or 18 years of age. And then at the end she had no chance but to kill herself. This is because of what? Because of this divorce. And we always hear stories and stories of really fearing stories, dramatic stories, worrying stories about what's going on within, unfortunately, the Muslim community in this country. Now, if you ask about the reasons behind divorce, and as my lecture I was supposed to talk about the divorce itself, the process, how it can be done, and the various issues of divorces, but I'll start by speaking about highlighting some reasons behind divorce. Of course, this itself, we might speak for ages, for hours, about reasons for divorce, but I would like to mention some reasons. Some of these reasons, brothers and sisters, go back to the issue of what I call it cornering. Corner. What does that mean? Many divorces I came across is because of this cornering. We have to understand, as Allah Azza wa Jal says in the Quran, that Allah Azza wa Jal created us from different tribes. So we have different cultures. And they always, the sociologists, they always study the issue of different cultures, especially in the issue of marriage, especially in this country. We have Pakistanis, Bangladeshis, we have reverts, even within Pakistanis we have Punjabi, Sindhi, etc., etc. There are different cultures. There might be clashes as a result of these various cultures. We agree with this. We don't want to get into that, because that itself need to be studied. We don't want to get into that, but I just want, because I don't want to spend all of the lecture talking about the reasons behind divorce, but I'll just mention some reasons. The issue of cornering. Your wife is different than you. The wife is different than the husband. She might have different mentality. She might like things her husband might not like it. She might like fried chicken, her husband might not like this. Not only that, but sometimes she likes to raise up children according to certain mentality. Her husband does not like that. More than that, she might be so attached to her mother. Of course, this in many cases might be so offensive for her husband, and so on. Here, the first resolution for all marriage problems is in the ayah. when Allah Azza wa Jal says الرجال قوامون على النساء بما فضل الله بعضهم على بعض وبما أنفقوا من أموالهم. The translation of this ayah is that men are maintainers and protectors. This is how they translate it. But because maybe there is no specific word that reflects the meaning of qiwama, the meaning of qiwama. Qiwama in Arabic gives the impression of superiority. They have a higher, or they are in a position of superiority over women. Now this in Western mentality is not acceptable. They might take me to the jail if I say this. طيب? And sisters, they never accept these things. Because of this, wallahi, because of this, I can swear by Allah Azza wa Jal, because we are not implementing this ayah, we are facing many problems and our families are breaking down, because the sisters never listen to their husbands, and once they argue, they never give up because of the qawama that Allah Azza wa Jal mentioned in this ayah. Many cases, and some practicing sisters, they call and they say, well, my husband wants to raise the children like this, I want to raise the children like this. Which decision should be taken? Normally I tell her, of course, it is your husband's decision. She said, why? I tell her, because Allah Azza wa Jal says this in the Quran. She said, no, but, and they start arguing. And this will continue on and on and on and on. طيب? And it is really, yesterday, wallahi, the brother, who is practicing brother, told me, wallahi, now I am so afraid to marry to a practicing sister, because she will argue. طيب? And if you tell her the ayah, she will start argue with you. Of course, this is, I don't agree with this, but the main reason is we are not implementing this ayah. Why? Because in this country they claim that they are giving more rights to the women, and because of these rights, if you just verbally raises your voice little bit, okay, she might call the police and she might claim that he is verbally abusing me. Is true or not? It's true or not? And many cases like this. Subhanallah. You imagine that you will live with your husband, or you will live with your wife without getting any argument, without any difference in opinions? Of course not. So back to the issue of cornering. Cornering means that you have different mentality, your wife have different mentality. Okay? First of all, as we said, we should implement the ayah, which is the main solution for all of our problems. The decision has to be the husband decision. طبعا, if the sisters are around me here, they are listening to me, okay? They raise their hands. They will immediately say, but what about if the husband is not doing something according to Sunnah? Immediately they will say like this, hey, wait a minute, we are not talking about something according to Sunnah or not. We are talking about a matter of ijtihad. You would like this way, your husband like this way. Don't argue, don't make this as an excuse. Everything that you don't like, you say that, well, my husband is asking for something against Sunnah. No, it is not like this, and you use this as a stick to threaten your husband, or a stick or an excuse to convince the sheikh or the scholar or the maulana you are talking to. Okay? So this is the first thing. We should apply what we call qawama, the real meaning of qawama. And qawama, as I said, it is not translated as maintainer and protector, because this maintainer and protector reflects the physical maintenance and protection. It's true, but no, he has, okay, he has the final decision. The final decision is given to him by the Quran, by Allah Azza wa Jal. Okay? If you try to make it straight, can you do that? Huh? You can't. You will break it. Then what he said, وَإِذَا اسْتَمْتَعْتَ بِهَا, if you يعني enjoy your life with her, okay, استمتعت بها على عوج, يعني you means يعني you will enjoy while she is have this يعني curve shape. طيب, she is bending. So it means accept her as she is. Also, the wife should accept her husband as he is. Back to the issue of corner. Many things can be solved before we reach to the corner. But if we reach to the corner, خلاص, no way to escape. What does that mean? The corner, look to any corner. Here there is a big space to run around, to run within this space. Okay, there is a big space to move. But in that corner, do you have any chance to move? You don't have any chance. So your wife, for example, her nature is what you call she panics quickly, or she becomes angry very quickly. طيب. Of course, the Prophet ﷺ told us, gave us advice not to do so, not to get angry so quickly, or he told us not to get angry at all. But you never, yani please brother, these things, these psychological characters, never be changed overnight. And don't even think to change them overnight. And don't even dream to change them overnight. So if she gets angry so quickly, don't reach to the corner where she becomes so angry, and then you become so angry, and then it turns to fight, and then you just take out of your anger by telling her divorce. Once you feel that she's becoming angry, just pull aside. Don't go to the corner. Just live with a big space. Don't take her to the corner. Same thing for the wife. In many cases, the husband, for example, is working and he's facing many problems at work, and maybe some fitness going around. He goes back to home and he wants to relax. He wants to see her husband taking care of him. Sometimes she, because of any reason, okay, she might not do so. As a result, she might get into something that is not suitable for that particular time, and then he becomes so angry. خلاص, leave it. He might become so angry. Don't take your husband to the corner. Avoid. You know that this particular thing makes him so angry. خلاص, don't make him so angry, because once he is angry, then you cannot control him. You cannot control what he might do. This is, we always speak about anger, but imagine, brothers, take this example, take the issue of corner, okay? Take it and apply it in your life. You will see that you can really avoid, okay, many problems with your partner if you don't go to the corner. Okay? So this is another thing, another way of solving the problems. So the first way is what? Implementing the ayah of Qawama. that the wife should give the final decision to the husband. The second point can be illustrated in the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ when he said that the woman طيب خلقت من ضلع أعوج, she was created from rib which is curved طيب, so she looked like this from certain angles. So means live with your partner, either the husband or the wife, they should live with each other as they are. This is provided what the decision was taken to continue in this life. If you took the decision to divorce, خلاص alhamdulillah, take the decision to divorce and خلاص, everybody goes to his own way, finds his own way. But to continue like this and fighting, this is not life. The third point is, don't imagine that you can solve your problems, okay, with the aid, or let us put it like this. Give the first and maybe final priority in solving your problems, okay, inside your house, to yourself and to your wife. Means don't try to let anybody else interfere in your own family. Okay? So many cases actually, some sisters come and they are telling me, please, can you talk to the husband? Talking to him about what? Yeah, because he is doing this and that and his and that, and he listens to his mom, okay, and he is sometimes use abusive language with me, and sometimes he is harsh with me, and sometimes there is no passion, sometimes we don't talk together, and these things. The answer is, sister, no one can change your husband except you. Even his father will not change him. Even in many cases, if someone interferes in his life, he will become more arrogant, because he will be, okay, he will take some reactions, he will be in a defensive mode. But if the change comes from the partner himself, the change can work. Same thing for the husband. Your wife's mom, okay, cannot change her. Obviously, طبعا, most husbands, they don't like to go to their mother-in-laws to change their wives. Okay, it's true or not? They don't like to consult their mother-in-laws. She is the last one to be consulted by the husband. But even that, her mom will never change her. Who is the one can change her? It is you, the husband. What does that mean? It means both partners have to sit together to solve their own problems and not to expose their problems to the external world. Okay? Now, unfortunately, many brothers and sisters do not realize this fact. And once any problem comes in their way, immediately they jump to the imam, or immediately the sister exposes that problem to her friends. Immediately the brother starts speaking about it, not just to take it out of her or his chest, but try aiming that he might find solution, and he will not, and she will not. The only one who changed the partner is you husband, and you sister. Okay, this is something that we have to realize. طبعا of course if we want to continue speaking about the problems between the husband and wife, okay, then this will really take long time, and the main lecture is not like this. I would like also to mention one, to highlight, actually I mentioned it, to highlight one main reason, okay, behind this high divorce rate is that, and sorry to say that, but I again blame sisters more than husbands in this country, okay. And as I see that in many cases طيب النساء here قوامون على الرجال, not الرجال قوامون على النساء, طيب it is the reverse. Why? So this is the advice I want really from my heart to advise it, to forward it to the sisters, because really the situation is so bad. Sisters in this country, the nature of this society, the nature of the mentality here in this country is totally different than our natures as Muslims. Please do realize that. Here in this country, they give more rights to the women, okay, believing that she is in a weak position in front of her husband, until they give her rights and make her more stronger than the husband. And this never work, never ever, because this is opposite of, against the fitrah. طيب, I know for a fact that many sisters, okay, do not agree with this, do not like this, but it is not a matter that they like it or not. We want to maintain the families. We are facing many problems in the Muslim community in this country, and as I see it, the only solution for that is that the sisters try to leave this Western mentality aside and to live with the Islamic mentality. It is not once your husband shouts, خلاص, the life ends. If the life ends, then we will not see, as the Western, okay, living, we will not see any single family living to with comfortable life, because the marriage will break just by shouting. Of course it is wrong for him to shout or to use abusive language, but imagine that thing happened. This it is true that he might do many mistakes, but by being patient we are avoiding further consequences and further implications. And in many cases sisters are asking for divorce, and after divorce and they always threaten their husbands by not allowing him seeing the children. This is what normally they do, and then just wait for 5 or 6 years, or wait for more than that, when their children grow up and they don't find any father. I have a case where the sister is ringing asking me to ask the husband to take the children. I told her, but you are the one who asked for divorce. She said, I cannot handle the children now. So why the Sharia told us to avoid the divorce as much as we can? Because of this. Why we need to be patient to avoid reaching to such situation where the children will be lost. And a case came to me recently. A sister called and she was crying. Please help me, please help me. I told her, how can I help you? She said, well, I had an argument with my husband, and then what they do in this country? Immediately rings the police for the husband. And normally, and the police in this country, especially if it is a matter with Muslim country, they run quickly. They come quickly. The police came. Of course, she will not tell the true story. She will put some spices on the story. So what spices she used in this story? She told the police that my husband tried to rape my daughter from my ex-husband. So the husband went away. The husband went away and escaped. And he will never come back to the house, because if he comes back to the house, what will happen? The police will arrest him. I told her, okay, so what's the problem? She said, now I cannot live alone. For 6 days I'm not seeing him, and my neighbors are non-Muslims, and they are threatening my daughter, and they are threatening me, and I'm afraid now I want my husband back. Then I told her, so how can I bring him back? She said, I don't know. I told her, I don't know also. That's why the women, are so emotional. By their emotions control them. The husbands do a big mistakes if they let the emotions take over or control or govern or rule the family. How you do that? By putting your wife into a corner and you being in that corner, so she will react, and once she reacts what? Emotionally. So I'm not saying that the wives normally do the mistakes, but actually it is us, the husbands, that push the wives in many cases to be emotional or to react emotionally, and then we face such problems. Let us move to the issue of divorce now, and let us mention some of the rulings regarding divorce. This is actually a continuation to this topic. First of all, we would like to mention the ayah when Allah Azza wa Jal says, وَاللَّاتِ تَخَافُونَ نُشُوزَهُنَّ فَعِظُوهُنَّ وَاهْجُرُوهُنَّ فِي الْمَضَاجِعِ وَاضْرِبُوهُنَّ فَإِنْ أَطَعْنَكُمْ فَلَا تَبْغُوا عَلَيْهِنَّ سَبِيلًا. Those women that you fear their nushuz, that they might do nushuz. What does nushuz mean? Nushuz means that the woman leaves her husband's house without her permission, so she will not be under his protection. This is nushuz. So she becomes arrogant, she never listens to him. So if you are afraid that this takes place, then Allah Azza wa Jal told us 3 steps. فَعِظُوهُنَّ, give them or preach. Give them preach. موعظة. tell her to fear Allah Azza wa Jal, to implement Islam. This is the first step. And to be honest with you, the husbands, in many cases, they don't do this. They jump into what? Argument. صح? And there is a big difference between argument and موعظة. موعظة is an advice. طيب, telling her to fear Allah Azza wa Jal. Argument is, no, you did this, you did that mistake, you made my son to do this, you are the one who are causing these problems in the house. I am losing money because of you, I am spending money on you, and then you are spending this money for some silly things. You are going to your mom and you are listening to your mom. You are making your father to interfere in our life. You are listening to your friends, and so on, so on. Accusations, okay, accusing her of doing this and that and this and that. This is not maw'idah. طيب, to make it short, then Allah Azza wa Jal says, وَاهْجُرُوهُنَّ فِي الْمَضَاجِعِ, don't sleep with them. طبعا there are two meanings. Whether don't have sexual intercourse, or don't even just sleep in the same bed, even regardless of the sexual intercourse. In any case, the scholar said, if the woman respects her husband, she will find it so difficult that her husband is not touching her, or her husband is not sleeping in the same bed, is not sharing the same bed with her. So this will affect her. Okay? It means what? It means that the whole family is built upon what? Love in the house. And subhanallah, maybe because here we are within this materialistic life, normally you don't find love in our houses. صح? You find what? You find contracts. You find partners, even we call them partners. What? Now, this is my turn to clean, tomorrow is your turn to clean. My job is to go to work, and your job is to drop the children to the school. My job to buy this, and your job to buy that. Okay? It is my turn to do shopping, and this is tomorrow your turn to do shopping. This is my turn to spend some time with my friends, and tomorrow is your time. You took more than your time, and so on. Life never continue like this. Never, never, never. Maybe because the Western mentality is like this. Now we are imitating them without knowing, then we are facing these problems. Imagine if you, let us make it simple. If you have two friends, one of them whom you like much, and the other friend you don't like him so much, and if you go with your friend that you like so much, and you pass by a shop and you want to buy drinks, immediately you will go and buy drinks for him. صح? Because you really find internal love towards him. There are internal feelings towards him. But if you don't like him, even without you feel, you will not go and buy something for him. This is the essence of the life between a husband and wife. Has to be love. And wallahi, if there is love between the husband and wife, many problems will be okay. Even we will avoid it. We will avoid many problems. Many problems will be avoided. طيب. Anyway, I'm sure that the brothers spoke about this before. Let us not spend more time on it. Then Allah Azza wa Jal says, after that, after you do hujran, if you abandon the bed, okay, وَاضْرِبُوهُنَّ. What does وَاضْرِبُوهُنَّ mean? No, I don't want to say it in English, because somebody might take me to the court. صح ولا لا? Or the next day the sisters might say, Wallahi, the Sheikh said, beat your wives. It is in the Quran. صح? It is what? Where is this? It is not even يعني in hadith, authentic, not authentic. No. It is in the Quran. And it is clear. It doesn't يعني have different meaning. Or وَاضْرِبُهُنْ. Of course, اضربهن doesn't mean يعني beat them up. Okay. No, they said smack or just like this type. Because the reason behind that is not to harm her, but what? To let her feel that you became so angry until you want to what? Physically طيب beat her. This is the aim behind that. And this kind of yani discipline, even it is used, okay, in certain cases in Sharia. In Sharia, we know in certain cases you smack. طيب, smack the child, smack yani some people. So in certain cases you have to smack. Just to tell, but this kind of yani smacking or beating or hitting is different than beating in hudud, in punishments, because that you want physically to let them feel the pain, the physical pain. But this one is not the physical pain, rather than it is the what you call spiritual pain. The emotions feel the pain. طيب. If you consume these means, if you exhaust all these means, and still there are problems, then it is divorce. Then it is divorce. So subhanallah, there is wisdom. Problems. We did maw'idah, we did hijran in madaja, we left the bed, and then we even smacked, and still, then khalas, take the decision to divorce. And this normally, if you take all these steps, then normally طيب, you will not reach to the stage of talaq. But the Sharia legislated talaq because sometimes in certain cases you have no solution but to end this marriage. Khalas, every partner should go to his own way to dissolve the marriage, to break out the marriage. The talaq. Now, subhanallah, even with talaq itself, the Sharia made the talaq, legislated the process of talaq in a way to minimize it and even to give it more chance to reconciliate. Okay? Now, this itself is wisdom. Because compare that to Christianity or to other man-made laws, where they say no talaq, or they say the talaq has to follow certain long procedure, as it is here in this country and many other non-Muslim countries. So, but sometimes they might face problems and they want to end their life, the matrimonial life, they want to end it. So how can they end it? This is a very long procedure, and in certain cases it takes a year. But the husband wants to marry another wife, and the wife wants to marry a husband. At least sexually she or he might feel a desperate need for sexual intercourse with the other partner. So what to do? It takes a year. Then we end up with a big problem, that each of them they will do zina wal iyadu billah with another partner or another gender. طيب, as as a result, they said, now let us introduce something new. We have something called divorce, and then other than divorce we have something called what? Separation. What is the state? Divorce. Sometimes divorce is a legal action, and because that legal action cannot be achieved easily, then let us say what? Separated. طيب. And separated, what does it mean? It means that, okay, she is no longer my wife and he is no longer my husband, but because the legal action or the legal step did not take place, and then they do zina, they do all these wicked things, okay, because there is no talaq. Sharia said, no, sometimes we might end this, we might need to end this life, let us end it by talaq. طيب. This is one thing. Sharia said the talaq has to follow certain procedure, certain process. First of all, the Sharia said that the talaq something disliked. You might know the hadith when the Prophet ﷺ said the most disliked thing in the sight of Allah Azza wa Jal is talaq. But this hadith, they said it is weak hadith. However, the meaning of this hadith is correct. It is something disliked. But still, it is part of Sharia. It is legalized by Sharia. It can be taken. And the Prophet ﷺ divorced, they say, 2 or 3 of his wives. And it is mentioned in the Quran, الطلاق مرتان يا أيها النبي إذا طلقتم النساء والمطلقات يتربصن بأنفسهن. It is mentioned many times in the Quran. The Sharia said, in order for the talaq to be a good talaq, what does a good talaq means? A good talaq means talaq to solve a problem, not as a stick to be used against your wife. Okay? To solve a problem, not, as I said, a stick to be used against your wife. And this is the first point to be used in order to avoid talaq. Think of talaq as end of this marriage. Don't think of it as a stick to threaten your wife or to beat your wife. And in many cases, what we see in this country is that the husbands use this talaq as a stick to beat their wives. They had an argument, okay, you are divorced. Okay, so what? You lose, she lose. And at the end, your children, okay, they will lose. So it is not a stick. طيب. Because of this, or in order to achieve this, to achieve making the talaq as a solution, not as a stick to threaten your wife with. In order to do that, the Sharia said you have to make the talaq according to sunnah. You have to make the talaq according to sunnah. Ali ibn Abi Talib radiyallahu anhu said, it was reported that he said, ما طلق أحد طلاق سنة فندم أبدا. He never regrets the one who did the talaq according to sunnah. The one who does the talaq according to sunnah, he will never regret. And in the other narration, he said that some of you, they do the talaq, طيب, not according to sunnah, and then after that, because they did the talaq طيب, against sunnah, they regret, and they weep, they cry, okay, behind their wives. And this is what happened in many cases. In many cases, wallahi, men came to me and they are crying. What is the reason? He said, I divorced my wife 3 times and I have children. I'm crying. Ibn Abbas, one time a man came to him and told him that I divorced my wife 3 times. Please, Ibn Abbas, please find a solution for me. Okay? Find a solution for me. Help me. Ibn Abbas said, وَمَنْ يَتَّقِ اللَّهَ يَجْعَلْ لَهُ مَخْرَجًا. طيب. And you did not fear Allah Azza wa Jal when you divorce your wife, and you divorce her 3 times, which is not according to Sunnah. So you did not fear Allah Azza wa Jal, so Allah Azza wa Jal will not give you a solution. Khalas. You lost her. طيب. So the talaq should be according to Sunnah. What does according to Sunnah mean? 3 conditions has to be met. The first one, it has to be 1 time, not 3 times, not 1,000 times, as some people do. Okay? And the other condition is he should divorce her while she is pure, in a state of purity. And the third condition, she should divorce her in that state of purity, provided that no sexual intercourse took place before the talaq. If these 3 conditions are met, then that talaq is considered to be talaq according to Sunnah. Other than this is considered to be talaq according to bid'ah. Whether it is valid or invalid, this is another discussion. But it is according to Sunnah. The scholar said, أجمع العلماء على أن المطلق طلاق بدعة عاص لله ورسوله. It is by consensus that the one who does the talaq not according to Sunnah, that he is sinful. طيب. This is talaq according to Sunnah. If you ponder upon this legislation, why to be like this in order to say that it is according to Sunnah? We spoke about divorcing her 3 times. Okay, of course this will take long time, but just we spoke little about it. The second point, we said that he has to divorce her in a state of purity, while she is in the state of purity. What does that mean? It means that the talaq did not take place unless this person took a decision that we should dissolve the marriage, we should end the marriage. It is not a reaction, emotional reaction. That is the main difference between this talaq and that talaq. It is not, we had an argument and then I divorced her. It is not like this. No. It is, I decided to divorce her. And there is a big difference between I decided to divorce her and we had an argument and I divorced her. It's true or not? Huh? طيب. Not only this, but sometimes the woman is either in the state or actually the woman either in the state of purity or in the state of menses. If she is during her period, then the talaq should not take place. You should wait until she becomes in the state of purity. Normally, if she's in a state of purity, normally a sexual intercourse took place between the husband and wife. So the Sharia just put you in the corner to leave no time for you to divorce your wife. Which means that if you are insisting on divorcing her, you should wait for her period to end up, and then after that she becomes in the state of purity. Normally, if the wife becomes in the state of purity, normally the husband likes to have sex with her, with his wife. If If he does not have this, it means that he is insisting on ending the marriage. So even he preferred to end the marriage rather than over having sex with his wife. That's why the Sharia said it has to be in the state of purity, provided that no sexual intercourse took place. Okay? So it means that the talaq is not, as we said, emotional reaction. It means that the talaq is a decision. And I came to a state of hate towards this or towards that marriage, so I prefer not to have any relationship with her, although my internal desire to have sex with a woman, but I prefer not to have it, and I prefer to divorce her. It means that my decision was taken after study, after thinking of the implications. Okay? That's why the Sharia said the talaq of the Sunnah should be like this. Then, just to conclude, the Sharia said it might be a mistake. He divorced his wife according to Sunnah, but it might be a mistake. The Sharia said if you divorce her, فَلَا تُخْرِجُوهُنَّ مِن بُيُوتِهِنَّ وَلَا يَخْرُجْ. You should not take them out of their homes, and they should not leave their homes. She should stay with her husband, okay, in his house. They might reconcile. They might think. Or even they might at least sexually have any kind of relation. It means that there is still kind of attraction between the two partners. If that took place, alhamdulillah, that will solve the problem. If still that does not take place, it means that the husband took the decision and he wants to end his marriage, so he should not get her back during the iddah. If he does not get her back during the iddah, then she is free, and what we call she becomes in baynuna sughra. Now this is the first chance. Of course there is a second chance, and then there is a third chance. After that, khalas, the marriage came to the end. Just one point before we finish is that, subhanallah, before the third talaq, what Allah Azza wa Jal said about the third talaq, فإن طلقها بعد, if he divorces her after that, فلا تحل له حتى تنكح زوجا غيره. She is not, okay, or he is not allowed to marry her, okay, until she what? Marry to another husband. Marry to another husband, full marriage with sexual intercourse, as the Prophet ﷺ said in Hadith al-Bukhari. What does that mean? It means he's telling the husband, be careful. Now you have 2 divorces. If you have the third divorce, this wife last night or a week before, you and her were having sex together. If you divorce her 3 months or 3 periods, almost 3 months after, now she will have sex with another man. Be careful. So if he, as a husband, have any kind of attraction or love or even jealousy towards his wife, he will not divorce her the third time, because he loves her. So he will keep her, he will maintain the marriage. Okay, this is a wisdom behind the legislation of the talaq, or how Allah Azza wa Jal made the process of talaq. Of course, talking about talaq and these problems will take, as we said, hours and hours and hours. And the proof that it is it is lovely topic, that none of you fell asleep. This is a proof that it is very attractive topic. I don't know about the sisters, whether it is attractive for them or not. One time I was invited to speak in marriage. So I said, they say in Arabic, لكل مقام مقال, you should speak, I don't know how you say this in English.
For every place there is a statement.
For every place there is a statement. So I told them, this is marriage. Of course, don't expect me to talk about talaq, in this marriage, about divorce in this marriage. But I said sometimes we may need to speak about divorce, to teach people, to warn people, to warn these new people, newly married people, to go into this trap. Anyway, may Allah Azza wa Jal protect us and protect our families and protect our children and protect our wives and protect us all from all evil things. Wa sallallahu wa sallam wa baraka ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in.
Disagree to the marriage of their sister to a practicing Muslim, can just one brother act as the wali? Will the marriage be valid?
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على نبينا محمد وآله وصحبه أجمعين. Yes, in this case we need to understand why they are refusing. If they're, and this up to the judge to judge on that. So I prefer the sister to write to Sharia Council and then to put all reasons, okay. If all trials of convincing her father failed, then she should write to Sharia Council, and then they will study whether these reasons are invalid reasons. Then her brother can be the wali.
Please, can you give an explanation on the wedding rings? Is it a sunnah?
Wedding rings, the rings that they put here and there. First of all, it is not sunnah, and it is clear it is not sunnah, because it was not the practice of the Prophet ﷺ, neither of his companions. But the question whether it is bid'ah, this is the question, or not. Regardless of saying that it is bid'ah or not, I prefer to leave it. Before, because it is first of all, it is the custom of non-Muslims, and it was imparted from them. And in the meantime, what does it mean? Does it mean anything? So there is no meaning for it, there is no use for it, there is no benefit out of it, and it is mainly imported from, or was imported from non-Muslims custom, okay. So I prefer not to use it. Yes.
How does a jinn cause problems in a marriage, and how should you solve these problems?
Well, I really don't have much experience with jinn. May Allah Azza wa Jal protect all of us from jinn.
Is it true?
But sorry, what I know one case that they do certain things for the man, okay, and but I know how to protect oneself from jinn, normally by saying the adhkar, the normal adhkar. This will protect all of us, whether during marriage or without marriage, okay. And the Prophet ﷺ told us certain adhkar to say, to recite before the sexual intercourse, and told us certain etiquettes to be observed before the sexual intercourse. And the other thing is, they say to protect yourself from jinn, you have to show that you are strong, not weak. يعني not believing in jinn, okay, otherwise they will يعني affect you. So this is يعني general يعني advice.
Is it true some scholars say that يضربهن means hitting them with a miswak? Is it a symbolic beating?
Yeah, I mentioned this in the يعني yes, symbolic me. I could not يعني I didn't يعني express this is يعني this is better expression. Yes, symbolic meaning. Yes, it's true.
Is a civil marriage valid in the Sharia, and is a civil divorce valid in the Sharia?
Yeah, let us start by divorce. Huh? Yeah, because we don't want to marry then divorce. So let us divorce first, okay? So the civil divorce, we said that if both husband and wife, if the husband agreed on it, then it is valid. And if the husband signed on the paper, divorce paper, okay, then it is valid, whether it is civil or whatever. But if he does not sign on it, although even the mahkama, the court, said that it is divorce, it is invalid. Because according to law, in certain cases, the wife can divorce her husband. That divorce is invalid from Sharia perspective, not because it is civil divorce or not civil divorce, because the divorce is the action taken by the husband, not by the wife. طيب, the marriage divorce, is it valid? We should differentiate between two cases: before the marriage and after the marriage. Before the marriage, we tell the people to do their marriage in the mosques, Islamic يعني mosque, or even outside the mosque, Islamically. Means the wali of the guardian of the woman, okay, plus witnesses are there, and acceptance, offer and acceptance. طيب, simple. Even if not necessarily in a masjid. If it is this is before the marriage. Now after the marriage, I mean if somebody asked that a marriage took place like this, then we should see whether he is married to a non-Muslim woman or a Muslim woman. A Muslim woman, okay, a Muslim woman, if the conditions are there, then it is valid marriage. The conditions, what are the conditions? Acceptance from him, from the husband, or offer from the husband, and acceptance from the wali of the Muslim woman, okay, means her father, her elder brother, or her brother, and plus Muslim witnesses. If these conditions are met, then that marriage, although is considered to be civil marriage, is valid. If he married to a Muslim sister, but her parents are not Muslims, or her father is not Muslim, and she does not have a wali, a Muslim wali, then if there are Muslim witnesses, okay, then that marriage, inshallah, provided that it took place. We don't encourage people to do it like this, but the marriage took place and there are witnesses, then inshallah that marriage is valid. If the sister is non-Muslim, I mean if the woman is non-Muslim, okay, and the marriage took place in يعني a court, civil marriage, but there are witnesses, Muslim witnesses, okay, then that marriage, hopefully inshallah, is valid. Okay. طيب, you forget go back to the cassette.
We've run out of questions on paper, so the brother here is first. Okay. And
was the Prophet ﷺ romantic towards his wives? And if so, how?
Was the Prophet ﷺ romantic?
No.
What do you mean by romantic? What? Yeah, he was saying poetry and these things. Huh?
I'll let the chair further explain.
It's your question, not mine.
Yeah, and it depends on what you mean by romantic. Yeah, but the Prophet ﷺ, yani we don't want to use this expression. I don't know, but he was, if you want to use this expression, yes, he was romantic to his wives. And for example, when Aisha radiallahu anha became angry, when she became jealous and she broke the dish, okay, what he said, he was smiling and he was saying that, oh, she became jealous. Ummukum gharat ummukum. And she started collecting the food. So this is kind of romantic, and it depends on how you want to express this. The Prophet ﷺ, one time, he had a race with his wife, Aisha. Is true? Or not once. He used to be. He used to be. Or he did it several times. And in which Ghazwa al-Muraysiyah, as I remember, he told the army, okay, you go. And then he remained with his wife, and then they did a race. Okay. So this is romantic, of course. And in Sahih al-Bukhari, you know that when Aisha radiallahu anha told him to, she wants to see the people from Abyssinia to playing with these arrows and these things, she told him that she wants to watch them, and he told him, okay, you can do so. And in the hadith, she said that I put my chin on his shoulder, okay, to watch, and he told her finished, and she said no. She said that I didn't want to to watch out what's going on, but I want to just make my skin touch his skin, okay. So from that sense, okay, you can say that he was romantic. And he said, of course, خيركم, the best of you, is the best of you for his family, and وأنا خيركم لأهلي, and I'm the best, okay, of you for my family. Yes.
The brothers with questions, raise your hands.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes.
Yes, brother, as you said, if it's a brother or sister, if parents not disagree, they should write to the council. But this is a big difference in our society now, especially Asia subcontinents. The arranged marriage English society acceptable, but dictator arranged marriage is our very bad and give a bad reputation of Islam. I tell you 3 countries, Bangladesh, India, Pakistan. There is because I was a cab driver, I got I made high court judge, I could accept the prime minister I have been. My one was a arranged marriage. When I explained, he said, that is nice. But the dictator arranged marriage is a very difficult. If the girl like that, so and so, if they told the father, Allah, she must be dead, or she have to go to Pakistan or Bangladesh, and that the national television is come. You, brother, as a Sharia law, our Imam is not explanation, our parents. This is a very deep, this is a part of our backbone of the Islam, and the non-Muslim people are criticized left and right. I got 3 daughters, and I have got a non-Muslim, and Alhamdulillah, we are sitting, as you say, brother, like that, Alhamdulillah, we got a turban and this and that. That way our sister has been abused, our daughter has been abused by children. I think the Sharia law and Imam have to come position to explain, educate the parents. It's no good As a brother says, not to go. No, I'm talking about Bangladesh, Pakistan, India. You have to marry this my sister's son. Otherwise, you are not my daughter. You will be slaughtered. But in here, we are behind there. We Muslim. You see them as angels.
Okay, yeah, it's clear. But the question was not talking about this. The question about that they are refusing, not they are dictating, not they are enforcing her to marry. The question about they were refusing the marriage. Okay, so what can she do? That is the question. It's the opposite.
Probably whoever put this question is mislead. Refuse means dictator is the same. He said, no, you can't marry this. I refusing, but you have to. There is a solution.
No. Refusing is different than dictating.
Why the refusing? There's a but.
Yeah, we said, yeah.
So you have to, when you take the bone out, you have to take the strong bone out. Sometimes you take the soft bone, you can bite. You can't bite the hard bone.
Yeah, but we said that she should apply and see. We should check whether these reasons are valid reasons or invalid reasons, and then if these reasons are invalid reasons, then we can marry her. Yeah.
So just going to elaborate on this question. For example, if a daughter is told, for example, from the Asian continent, she's told to go back to Pakistan. She knows she's going to get forced marriage. What is she supposed to do in a situation like that?
We have to differentiate between what is called real forced marriage, because many cases came to Sharia Council. They claim that it is forced marriage, and after investigation we discovered that it was not forced marriage. It is not love marriage. And recently a case came to us and we told her, did they force you to marry him? They said, what do you mean by that? We said that you don't want him and you insisting on that, but they told him, khalas, you are married, and they brought Maulana and he wrote the contract. No, she said, no, they convinced me, but I don't like him. So they consider this as forced marriage. This is not forced marriage. Okay?
I understand what you're saying. It's just that within a community, even in England, if they tell the daughter to marry someone, the daughter's afraid to say no, I won't marry him, because what happens is they'll either kill the daughter. For example, we see in many situations in Bradford, or they send them back home in Pakistan, or wherever the daughter's from. So she's afraid to say no outrightly, because also embarrasses the family within the community. So it's a big issue, and I understand. But
yeah,
it
is a big issue. Wallahi, this cannot be solved by. It has to. Because there are many implications. Now, if they took her to Pakistan and they force her for that marriage, and even in some certain cases they leave her in Pakistan, it is a very complicated issue, and I cannot solve it, and even all of us here, we cannot solve it. Even when Sharia Council, with this need a lot of efforts, because many cases what they do, they force her to marry, for example, a cousin, and then she comes back here, and they come back here, back to England, and then she refuses to sponsor her husband, okay? And then she writes to Sharia Council that I don't want this husband, please divorce me from him. And then her parents start writing, no, this is her husband and this. So it is a very complicated issue. Until now, what we can do is to advise and to educate the parents not to do this forced marriage, and to show them the consequences of that such marriage. And we hear some cases where some sisters do wal-iyadu billah, they did zina because of they don't love their husbands, and they don't okay, until now, because Sharia is not implemented in this country, and Sharia is not implemented fully, of course, in Pakistan, so you end up in a big problem. We agree that this is a big problem.
But the Imam want to every Friday or khutbah time, they should educate our public. Even in all the Bangladesh part India, there's Islamic law, you can see Islamic group. Their name and fame the Islamic. One scholar I asked him, I said, you don't do this and that. So we cannot follow the Abu Bakr. Believe it or not, Sheikh.
Yeah, we agree that.
Around the world, every Muslim brother spend 3 hours average Islamic wife. We don't have any problem at all around it. Believe it or not, I had my son, I call it, this is a serious issue, I call it this teacher, Pakistan, this brother, and my son was learning, and he said, Dad, how many languages I have to learn? Urdu, Bengali or English. I asked this brother, I said, I ask you to teach in Arabic, why you speak the Urdu? He said, because if you don't learn Urdu, you can't learn the Arabic. This is exactly, I'm not lying anymore.
Yeah, we agree that there are.
Also, brother, because you have to educate a lot of our Asian mosques, they are totally give a khutbah on English, Urdu and Arabic, which is our young generation. This Friday, I'm telling you, this Friday, the majority of the the gentlemen, I hope Allah forgive me, they give a Urdu khutbah. What happened to Muslim, Somalian and Moroccan, around the world? We are calling all Muslim, oh Allah forgive us. We are not equalized. We got to shriek ourselves. You know this. Our Islamic scholar don't come clean. That's our main adab. Give the Allah Ta'ala.
Yeah, you need to advise them and to ask them. Yes, I agree.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay. No, fine. I have 2 questions to ask you.
What about sisters' questions? Finished?
They're finished.
I have one question on behalf of the sister, but it's not.
I have 2 questions. Is that okay, Chef?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the first question is basically, isn't it true that many brothers who raise their children many brothers actually pick their husbands for their daughters, i.e. that because of the way that they teach them, the way that they teach them Islam, the way that they grow up, the way that they educate them, that actually leads to how that sister picks their husband up. So many people actually do have many fathers do actually pick their daughter's husband for them, although they don't really, indirectly they do, by the way that they actually bring them up. The second question is engagement allowed in Islam?
The second question, the first was not a question, it was a comment. The second one is engagement allowed in Islam. What does engagement mean? Engagement means that he promised her to marry her. Okay, it is not yet contract. So this is, of course it is allowed in Islam to give her a promise to marry her, and the parents to give him a promise to accept his marriage. Okay, but what should be the question is, are there any consequences on this engagement? I.e., is it allowed for the man to see the woman after engagement before the contract or not? Just to clarify this point, many people do not understand it. The fiancé, they call it fiancé, fiancé or fiancé. Huh?
Fiancé is a French one.
Yeah, the fiancé. Okay, both of them, they are totally strangers in terms of any kind of contact. They are totally strangers. They should deal with each other as they deal with any strange woman, as she deal with any strange man. Exactly. The only difference is the guardian of the woman, of the girl, promised the man to accept his proposal, and that man promised the guardian, the wali, to marry his daughter. That's all. Other than that, nothing is there. Yeah.
I'm a little bit confused about marriage, the Islamic system. According to Sunnah and Quran, all Muslim brothers, Muslim are brothers. But in marriage, they are not brothers. Suppose there is with Arabic kuf, or another case, honor killing. Suppose in 2000 I was in Germany, a Turkish woman was married by another Turkish fellow, but he was not caste. I think he was Kurdish. He was not Turkish. The family Turkish said, no, you can't marry our daughter. We have to kill, honor killing. Both they are Muslim, they are same country. At the same time, they are very happy if the Germany Dutchman married. Is very lovely. She married Dutchman. Go on. I come from Somalia. We are same features. We speak same language. We are all Muslims. We are Shafi'i Sakti. But still there is low caste. My daughter, this guy will not marry because he's at that tribe, he's low caste. But still, and when Italian men married, we are very happy. So what about that in Islamic marriage? I think you can't reply my questions, but according to general Muslim system, Pakistan will not marry Bangladesh. I think so. I assume, but I'm not evident. We Somalis, we never marry Sudanese.
This is not.
So Arabic is maybe.
This is not question. We are describing the problem. It is true. This is there.
How can you describe the problem?
Okay.
Assalamu alaikum. Yeah, I've got a question on behalf of a sister who couldn't be here today. Basically, she's written it out for me to give it to you. She says she's been married for 6 years. Her husband introduced her to Islam. Though himself, he didn't practice, he didn't pray. And then she found out what Islam was about. She started learning the prayers, so on and so forth. Then 5 years ago, he started mixing with some wrong company. He started getting into soft drugs to begin with, then hard drugs, crack cocaine and heroin. And then he turned to crime. He's currently in prison. He's looking at quite a long custodial sentence. She's had 4 children by this marriage. She says he's oppressed her, like stolen money from her, so on and so forth. And she's been to the Sharia Council. This has been going on over the past 2 years. And basically they've written to him in prison requesting that he release her. He's written back and he said that he's made tawbah to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and that he wants to make amends when he comes out of prison. He doesn't know how long it's going to be, but it looks like it's going to be a long time because he was recently convicted. And basically she wants to be freed from this relationship and she wants to know how to go about it because she said it's been going on with the Sharia Council for about 2 years and she can't progress with her life until she knows the outcome of this.
Just to rephrase the question for the sisters. This is a question about a sister married to a man and she's a revert, and 4 years ago he was admitted in the prison because of drugs and hard drugs. And she has 4 children from this man. And she wants to dissolve the marriage, and she applied for Sharia Council since 2 years, and she's waiting. She should continue with Sharia, but the problem is in many cases they don't provide enough evidence of what they claim. For example, a sister wrote to Sharia Council that her husband is abusing her, etc., etc. Even he divorced her once, and he doesn't maintain her, he doesn't come to her. All these stories. The brothers wrote to the man, and he's living in another country, and the man said, I want her, and I'm maintaining her. And even if you don't believe me, ask so and so in England. If you don't believe, ask so and so. Then who will believe? We will believe, the man or the woman? And then the woman, she called again. She called me. She said, Wallahi, I am this is the truth. I told her, okay, what about if your husband called again and said, Wallahi, I'm telling the truth? So this is the thing. So what we ask this sister is to provide evidence that this is taking place, and to provide evidence that this he was convicted, or he will remain in prison for 2 or 3, 4 years. Then this period of time, okay, is allowed for us as Sharia Council to dissolve the marriage. But without evidence, we cannot.
But if you phone the court and ask them even what sentence he had, they would never give you that information. And he's not going to be forthcoming with that information because he wants to keep on to that marriage. Sorry?
They can give it to the wife.
Okay.
Yeah, this is what I know. They can give it to the wife. So if she proved that he will be remaining in the jail for 2 years, okay, then we can dissolve the marriage.
So, excuse me.
More questions?
Yes.
My question was based only the word. Can you explain the word kuf in Arabic? The kuf. My question was based on the kuf in Arabic. Can you explain the word kuf?
Yeah, if we explain the word kufr, the people will not listen. Somalis is still, they have their own problems, as you say. They sometimes, if you go to another tribe, they don't. I know Somalis, what's going on. Even Pakistanis, even as you said, they don't accept the marriage. Okay, but if a revert, because he's white, maybe with blue eyes, immediately they will marry him.
So kuf is existing.
But what to do then? Khalas, this is, even if we explain it 100 times to them, okay, they start giving you lectures about culture differences. Okay, طيب, culture differences within Somali, okay, it might be handled. What about culture differences between Somali and European? No, they said no, this can work out. But what you can? Yes, brother.
So, in terms of like Westerners, like from Bangladesh living here, one of the responsibilities that I, or a lot of sons feel, is that as their parents are getting older, we can't stick them in a home. We need to look after them. But when you're married, and in this Western society, it's very easy to send the parents over into the home while you live independently, like how people do. Islamically, do we have a right, or more of a responsibility for us to say, no, we're going to enforce this decision because our parents are getting older? We need to bring them into our homes or live with them and accept that this is the way that we have to live our lives, even as married. So it doesn't mean that just because I'm married, I need to move out and live separately, independently. Do I still have a commitment towards my mum and dad more so than the wife? Do I assume that the wife's brother will look after her mum and dad, and I have the right to look after my mum and dad? Because if I don't, I'm not going to put them in a home. Do you understand the question? The question is, Islamically, have I got more of a right over my parents? And do I stand sound if I say, I need to look after my parents? And if you can't accept that, then that's a basis for me to be able to say, you need to go your way, I need to go mine.
You mean, as I feel from your question, is you are trying to convince sisters that, listen, okay, if I get married, it doesn't mean that I will leave my parents. I still have rights over my parents. This is what you are trying to say.
Do I have rights?
Yes, of course. But we need now to convince sisters that the husband, okay, of course, he has rights. Even the Sharia, as the Prophet ﷺ said, at the last days, the man will listen to his wife and he will disobey his mother. طبعا, of course, the first right for the parents. This, the sisters have to understand this. But in the meantime, we have to be just, because I came to many cases where here, for example, the houses are too small. Even 3-bedroom house, 4-bedroom house. the mother and father, the old people, they are occupying one room, and then they have one daughter, she's taking one room, and then there is a brother who's taking another room, and this man with his wife is taking another room, okay, the fourth room. And the house, there is one toilet, okay, and one bathroom. And then the sister is finding it too difficult, okay, because every time she has to put the hijab, every time. And as I have understood from some Pakistani cultures, sometimes the Pakistani mothers, the in-laws, they are little bit abusive to the wife of the husband. She thinks that, well, we brought her, she should be a servant, like a servant. So it is now the role of the husband, okay, to be just. And I think we should really be clear from the beginning that, listen, well, I want to marry you, but you will be living with, okay, my parents, and in this condition, okay, I don't have enough money now to have another flat, or even my parents have rights over me, okay. So it has to be clear, and we have to reach to a balanced situation between, not between your parents and your wife. Of course your parents have much more weight, okay, over your wife, but I mean balanced situation between how to live your life, okay, and how to fulfill the rights of your parents. Maybe that's enough.
Because we're running very late now, we're going to call it a day there. So firstly, we thank Allah for allowing us to conduct this seminar, and then we thank the speakers, Sheikh Haitham and